This video is about just laying out some expectations if there were to ever be a behavior issue or concern with your child. At the beginning of the school year, there's always there's a lot of training that goes on. There's a lot of redirection. A lot of procedures are being taught. Rules are being taught. And so the kids are becoming acclimated to that. A lot of times students have to just be redirected. They ran to the water fountain, so they have to start over and walk. And sometimes that has to happen several times a day at the beginning of school. If that happens, sometimes they will come home and say they got in trouble at school when really they were just redirected. So just know if there's a serious issue, the teachers will let you know that. And a lot of times at the beginning of school, it's really just a learning process. With that being said, sometimes there are behaviors that either continue past those few weeks of school when the procedures have been taught and we know what to do, or sometimes there's just other extreme cases going on that there needs to be a consequence. We know that our kids are 4, 5, and 6. A lot of times the root of it is lack of social skills. Maybe they're not communicating their needs, just not playing well together, and we know those things, and we really work hard to target that and work through that. Work through what words could you say instead, work through what could you have done instead of what you did, and so that we can really train and help them learn. But sometimes they do need a consequence so that they can learn. And we think that's really important to show that we mean it and that we're going to be consistent and that we have high expectations. And, even though we understand sometimes a 4-year-old may hit because they don't have a toy, we never want to dismiss it because they're 4, because then they won't learn from their mistakes. So we do have some consequences we do, but we also just know that we also take a teaching approach to it as well, and so that they know what to do for next time. If a situation were to occur where the child would need to come see me, you would hear from me, or if they need to go see the counselor or the student service coordinator, you will hear from one of us about our visit with them, and we will talk about a plan. If we do have to call, just know it is because we want to keep you informed. We want to be on the same team. It is very important to me that we have a team approach when we're approaching continuous issues with behavior, and so that we really have a good plan in place. We like to be very proactive. If there's things we can do on the front end to try to keep the child motivated in things and keep the behavior from escalating, that's what we want to do. So if it becomes a behavior that's just continuous and regular consequences are not helping, then we will make a plan together. And just know that we like to build a strong home and school connection. Lastly, just want to talk a little bit about our consequences that we do give. One, if a child is having to come see me, unless I am doing a warning, you will get sent home a discipline referral that you will sign and return. This will be followed with a phone call as well, and it will tell you the things that have been tried proactively and also the consequence. The first step in any discipline will be with the teacher. The teacher will always handle discipline first unless it is something extreme that warrants an immediate office referral. We will always try natural consequences first. For instance, if a child is not being safe on the slide, they may lose their slide privileges for a while, things like that. If that doesn't work, then we obviously will do timeout of centers or recess. And then if the behavior is very extreme, it's like violent behavior, or if it's just repetitive and nothing else is working, we do have on-campus suspension that I can give for a half day, a whole day, or 2 or 3 days if it's warranted. Just know that usually if there is a strong partnership with home, and you're consistent at home and we're consistent here, it usually doesn't take much more than that. So just again, being consistent on both ends is super important. Having good communication with the teacher. Our goal with discipline is always to help them be successful in the classroom. So we want to keep them in the classroom. And so definitely, if there's a behavior concern, you and the teacher will talk first, and that will be the first step before it comes to me.